Hello and welcome in. I am MissKinghorn and we are back here in The Sims 4, and today we are back building for our world collection. So if you are new here, hello. We have been building a collection. We started in Morocco, we went to Italy, we went to the US, we did a Massachusetts, Cape Cod, and yeah, we went to Mexico, and now we're here in the Netherlands with this traditional canal house. So yeah, I had a lot of fun actually doing this. So I did slightly cheat. I actually did a version of this where I created all 3 homes. It just looked very busy, it was very heavy, and I didn't particularly like it. I was going to furnish just the middle one and leave the 2 outside, and it was going to take too long. I didn't particularly like it, and yeah, it was just too heavy. So I thought, let's use a live edit object, and these perfect pair came up in here. You'll sort of see them around in the world. So they are from this neighbourhood, which so you'll see them in there, but we are working on a 20 by 15, I believe, lot. So, or 15 by 20 really, whichever way you really want to put it. But it's got the canal right behind it, and I thought it would be perfect, taking a lot of inspiration as per usual from obviously Google images of Amsterdam and places like that. Not specifically any particular build or like real house, just kind of getting the idea, and also from the world as well. So there are lots of these sorts of rows of houses in here, and I just thought it would be perfect kind of combination of the 2 in there. Now I did take a lot of inspiration for the inside as well, kind of working out how the floor plan works and bits and pieces like that. But whilst I have been waffling away, we have done quite a bit of the outside. We have still got some more to go, but I really liked that kind of dark red kind of colour, and it works really well with the sort of orange and yellow we have of the other ones. I had placed a few items on the other ones, so I think I did like some awnings over the front, and some decor for the street. So a couple of trees, a bench, a big sort of signpost, kind of like a map of the town sort of thing in here. Now one thing you will notice, there is actually a tiny little gap between these buildings. That unfortunately is they have like these thick window frames. The other debug items are like 3D, they're not just like flat items on a picture, which I kind of get. They are just debug items of the windows that we've got, but they make them textured and it makes it a little bit thicker, and I could do it. Yeah, the items were going to be either clipping into the rooms of the actual house, so I just kind of had to leave a little bit of a gap. But then I've kind of placed some columns on there, and I've just kind of hidden them a little bit more into there. Now we're placing window boxes. Just an FYI, some of these windows do get deleted. I apologise for that. I built all of the exterior, and I decorated it, and I came back in, and I then tried on the to do the floor plan. Yeah, you can tell by my expression the floor plan didn't go to plan. It was a bit of a pain. So the ground floor here that I'm working on, this is going to be kitchen, dining room, and kind of like entrance hallway. That worked out pretty well. It's the rest of the build. Now, the couple that I've got in here are both adults, and they don't have any children, and that's kind of a decision that they've made, that they didn't want to have children. So I knew I could get away with like a 1-bedroom house, but it didn't quite feel right to have just a 1-bedroom. It felt like it needed more than that. So we do have kind of a 2nd bedroom, but it's a bit more of a study space. But what I'm trying to do here is get a bathroom in this build, and I realised that the windows are not in the right place, and I just could not get a room for a bathroom in here. We eventually do. I tried placing it upstairs, but then the bedrooms were too small. I placed it originally down in the kitchen and kind of made that a bit smaller. Wouldn't work. It ended up kind of going here in the middle, which I kind of think is actually a good compromise in a 3-story or 3 floors. To have it in the middle there. It's also right at the stairs, so you can just run up the stairs and you're straight into the bathroom. But yeah, it was a challenge. I will give it to that way. But we do have a really large sort of living space, and then one kind of bigger bedroom, and then, like, as I say, the sort of office study area at the back as well. But yeah, I kind of figured that I would try and do some families that are maybe a little bit different. So I've kind of done lots of family homes, I've done starter homes, I've done homes for lots of kind of different, maybe like generational families or like older people or things like that. And I thought, what about people who don't have children but still want to be in a nice big sort of house like this? So that's kind of what I was thinking when I was building this, that they decided not to. Maybe they're very career focused, or it's just not in the cards for them, and that's absolutely fine. I just love how this all kind of works into here. So the floor plan is now done. I have gone through, I've put flooring in, I have placed down the walls. We've kind of brought in this really nice dark red from the outside. I've got to be fair, I absolutely love this house. I think the colours and how it all works, and because it's a dark red, it also makes it feel a little bit smaller, which I was questioning, because it is quite a narrow house, whether that would be too much. But actually, I think it really, really works, and it kind of gives it that sort of air of sophistication and kind of just that sort of gravitas that it really needed. At least that's my thinking and what I like behind it. Let me know down in the comments what you think, if you like this build in here. But yeah, working on this sort of front entryway and using the new bags. I don't necessarily particularly like them, I've got to be honest. The handle is throwing me. It's like constantly raised up and defying gravity. Who knows in there, but yeah, I figured I would at least use it once, and this kind of felt like the good time to use it. I think maybe I might kind of use tall and like hang it up in the future, so that it then makes a little bit more sense, I guess, rather than how it is there. But yeah, kind of wanted those really nice sort of flower boxes. I thought, because this is an area where people just walking past can look in, I kind of didn't want to have too much kind of detail in there, so I've just placed down a few little knickknacks. I think the car keys, which is probably not safe, but a big vase, the big sort of wall, and there's a big picture in there as well. Nothing kind of too crazy, but yeah, into there. And now we're going to come into the middle of this ground floor, which is the dining room, which, yeah, I go through quite a few tables and chairs, so sorry about that. You are going to see quite a few, and I actually settle on this one, which I don't think I've ever used, but then mixing it in with this sort of I think they're actually from Business and Hobbies, these chairs with that sort of dark wood, which I did then change the hallway table out at the front there, just so that it matches. I feel like it's that sort of dark wood kind of matching in with sort of the blacks and things like that, and that's kind of the colour scheme we go for throughout this build, I guess. Into there, having a nice big sort of shelving unit again. I feel like maybe they have like dinner parties, or they have like friends over or something, and they have like some really nice china or like plates and stuff, or maybe they do like buffet meals, that kind of thing, and then you can just like put it on there. That's kind of what I was thinking in my head. I do also place down the cutlery set, because I thought, why not, and a fruit bowl, just to be a little bit healthy. It's one of those objects that I tend to forget to put in, so I thought, why not, into here. And then these big, I think they're supposed to be like bay trees or something, that I absolutely love, and I've just doubled them both up so they're a little bit thicker and a little bit more powerful there than what they kind of normally are, because they are quite small. And then some more modern art. I kind of went along with that across the whole lot, so you've kind of got that big one in the entrance hall, you've got the 2 here, and I've kind of softened this room down with the sort of creamy walls and things like that. But where should I go next in the world collection? Let me know. As I say, we've been kind of quite a few places. I haven't done anything in sort of like Asia or sort of that area yet, so maybe we could go there. But let me know in the comments if you have any ideas. Maybe it's your own home country. Do you have like a traditional style of house builds? Let me know. I would be interested to find out more. But now we're going to jump over to the kitchen. This, I actually had a picture of what I wanted the cabinets to look like, and then I realised just how awkward the kitchen cabinets are in game. It just was not going to work. I kind of wanted like the glass like to be meeting like the shelving, but not, yeah, it just wasn't really going to work for me. So in the end we changed it to this black with the white counters, which again kind of works, especially as we've got this marble floor in the entrance hall and things like that. So I thought we can get that in. Now, one problem I do have with this pack, and I've said it a couple of times now, is the size of the windows. They are ridiculously big. Now, I do believe we're actually on a medium wall height here. We have gone up, I think, about 3 levels of platform. However, the windows, to place them normally, just don't work. So they actually do clip in. But I had a look from the outside when I was placing them, and it's not too bad. It's, yeah, it's one of those where you just lose the bottom bit of it. Now, I actually have this issue in my house. All of the windows are the same size, but what they've done is they've actually put like a little plastic kind of like bit along the bottom of the window, so you don't see the cabinets. So although the glass goes down, they're kind of like, it's sheltered and protected a little bit more. But yeah, that's just an old house thing into here. But now the kitchen is pretty much done. I wanted a few little bit more clutter items on the counter, so we're in the middle of making some cookies, because you know what, why not indeed. Maybe on a lazy Sunday you can do just that. Now, welcome to problem number 2. I feel like I'm saying that quite a lot recently. In here, you might have noticed that there are some black little blobs that kind of come up from the floor. They are the top of the archways downstairs. They don't quite fit. I do actually have to go in with tool and just make them a tiny bit smaller, just so that they work. But also, long and narrow houses do not really work when it comes to living spaces. So I had issues with trying to get sofas that worked, trying to work out where to put the TV. I feel like these couple are not necessarily ones to sit around watching TV. I figured they would probably be more cozying up to reading a book in there. But I have placed a TV in here. It's kind of in the middle of the room. I don't really know why, but it kind of actually works in the end. I get there with it. One thing I do love is kind of the colours that actually sort of flow all through this build. I did say at the beginning that this sort of dark red actually makes it feel a little bit sort of narrower and smaller, but actually that was kind of a decision I took, and I kind of flipped around, especially with like the dining room and the kitchen downstairs. They're a little bit lighter in their colours, but then sort of bringing it through with these soft sort of beige sofas actually kind of really works. You'll see here I said about the arches downstairs. I fixed those, and you can't actually tell they've been shortened, but yeah, it now solves that issue. But where do I put the TV? But yeah, but keeping the sort of sofas in this light cream lightens this whole look up. And I did go for black furniture in like the bookcase, the fireplace, the TV stand, things like that, just to kind of bring in that darkness that we had with the furniture. Downstairs it's a little bit more sort of dark brown, whereas up here it's a bit black, but I kind of am okay. Like, it's a different room, it's on a different level, you're not really gonna see too much sort of difference. We do get out this gorgeous little coffee table, and I thought I'd have a nice little chess set on there, just so that they can kind of play around, like if they don't want to watch TV, because as I said earlier, they're not really that kind of people that I had in my mind. But yeah, maybe they sit there and play chess or any other kind of board game that they have in there. There is also this gorgeous piano that I thought filled in that space, because there is kind of a bit of a weird shape to that floor. So yeah, but now we're going to jump up onto the top. So as I said, there is just one bedroom and one kind of office space, but you could turn that into a second bedroom if you really wanted to, and obviously just move like the desk and stuff downstairs. That is a possibility for you in there. But I thought they don't have necessarily like too many outside expenses. Like they don't have any children, they like going out for meals, they kind of like being together doing things, and they really sort of take care of their home and sort of look after the place and things like that. And I kind of really wanted a really nice, private, kind of expensive and a little bit sort of like luxurious place for them. Maybe they just sort of spend it on sort of themselves and their home and the image that they kind of have around them. I don't really know what kind of careers they have. I didn't really sort of go too deep with them in terms of kind of creating that aspect. At least in my head, I just sort of did it all very surface level, as I normally sort of do in here. But a few knickknacks on the side of the bed, just a bit of clutter, maybe a tad too much clutter on this one, into here. But yeah, and then this gorgeous bed, my go-to favourite bed of all time. I've got to be fair, it goes into pretty much all of my builds, but it has that really nice sort of colour scheme that matches in perfectly. And a double wardrobe. I have too many clothes. I have a full wardrobe just to myself, so having somebody else share it would be a big no-no. So I figured let's have two in here, and yeah, it fills in that gap really, really nicely. And now we're going to work on this sort of office space in here. I kind of thought maybe they worked from home a little bit and like a couple of days of work a week. And yeah, I kind of wanted a really nice sort of separate space for them up here. And yeah, we are going to use the gamer kit, comfort kit, because it's gorgeous. I love the items and they work really well. And I thought it was just a really nice kind of office, modern kind of office kind of kit. That's kind of what I used it for in my head in there. And there are some really, really nice pieces from that kit into there, and we just move all that around. But we are quickly coming up to the end of this video, so if you have enjoyed this build, let me know in the comments. Let me know where you want to see next in the world collection as well. I will actually create a separate playlist just for that, all of those builds as well, so check that out. But you can follow me on all social medias. My link tree is down in the description, so check that out. You can follow me all there, and more importantly, you can also subscribe to my YouTube channel here. It would mean so very, very much to me, and it would help this channel grow as well. But for now, I will leave you with the screenshots, and I'll see you next time. Bye everyone!